Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boscheman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the numerology and the energy for both the collective and the individual life path numbers for March 2022. As with all of these monthly videos, it's very important that you listen to the part for the collective because we are each a part of the collective. And that energy is what's really going to be potent during this time. And so it ties in with your individual life path number. That's why I don't put timestamps. This, of course, is a general reading. If you would like a personalized reading, please book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. I have also just recently started offering one-to-one, face-to-face over Zoom life path coaching with numerology. If this is something that you're interested in, this is an opportunity for a 1-hour session where we dive in deeply into your numerology chart to discuss anything you want to discuss that you're currently facing or that may be coming up for the future for you. If that's something that you're interested in, just book some time with me. I would absolutely love to meet you face-to-face and to work with you in that way. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at the energies for March. So March ushers in the universal cycle of the 9 energy. During this cycle, we can find that we're able to think more abstractly and not quite so rigidly when it comes to our belief systems and how we move through the world. 9 energy is that of the humanitarian. It's an energy that honors self while also bringing in service towards others. So by opening our minds and our hearts, we can begin to see things from a broader perspective where greater, more elevated solutions lie. Aligned 9 energy sets out to bring people together with an emphasis on equality and justice for all. It's an energy of no one being left behind because if someone is struggling, ultimately we're all struggling in some way. So where we can find ways to coexist while doing no harm, then we're able to be a part of the greater circle. If one is being pushed out from that circle, it creates a gap that in one way or another, we all end up feeling, especially energetically. So 9 energetic cycles help us to find ways to do our individual part for the greater good, for the collective, and to bridge the gap, which I think now more than ever, we could use this energy. So it's beautiful energy, especially for March, especially for this time in history. So definitely work with it the best that you can throughout the month and always, but it's very potent this month. This is also a completion cycle, so it can indicate attainment, things coming to fruition from past efforts, such as rewards, earnings, return of investments. This is going to be a situation where you've put in the effort previously and now you're seeing those things again coming to fruition or coming to closure, and it can be closure that's abrupt or it can be closure that you're just kind of tying up that bow really nicely and moving on to the next thing. It can also indicate things falling away so that new seeds can begin to grow, creating a greater foundation for your future cycles. Similar to when we sort of lose our baby teeth as children so that our adult teeth can come in, shedding what no longer works or no longer supports us for something that does. Though this isn't the best energy for sort of starting anything big or new, it's more of a time for setting the intentions and making the preparations for this cycle to begin, right? So this cycle can feel somewhat busier than normal with a lot of added responsibilities being added to your plate. You can see a tremendous amount of inspirations and ideas, psychic and intuitive downloads coming in for you now. Pay extra attention to your dreams at this time and any kind of, again, visions that you have, ideas, inspirations. Now, this isn't necessarily, like I said, this isn't the cycle where we would necessarily take action on those inspirations or those big ideas. Although, we have to go with what comes up for us. So if life dictates that you need to take action, then take action. Don't let this sort of prevent you from doing that. But this isn't the most supportive energy for big ideas taking root when we take action on them just yet. This is the time for the sort of the incubation period, the ideas coming in, sort of exploration of those ideas and those inspirations, and maybe planning and deciding how we want to take action on these ideas. And then in the months that follow, then taking those big risks, those big inspired action, right? So this is going to be a time again to really sink into the more ethereal, sink into the inspirations, the ideas, the dreams. The dreams are going to be coming in very vividly, very strongly for those of you that are especially sensitive to that. You could notice that, again, your intuitive powers are even stronger during this time. You could notice that, again, your psychic powers are much more profound at this time, much more vivid. So pay attention to that. A lot of times that can hold messages. So we just need to be open to it, take note of it, and then revisit it down the road if we need to. So this is not going to be a cycle where self-serving or overly self-indulgent endeavors be supported. Instead, broad compassion, kindness, understanding, and more evolved actions are the ones that will gain the most traction. Friendships and relationships of all kinds can prosper and grow during this time, especially those that hold a similar vision for the greater good. So pay attention to who enters your sphere at this time, your reality, your experience, or who re-enters your life now. They could play a key role in the journey ahead. So be open to who you meet and the messages that they hold and the wisdom that they've come to share. This could be very important for your journey forward. Be mindful not to sort of cling to or get overly attached to experiences, people, or emotions that have run their course and that need to be released. Replaying events or stories in your head only to beat yourself up with them aren't allowing you to move forward into a sort of greener pastures, right? We may need to sort of shovel the manure every now and then, but we certainly don't need to sit in it. So extract the wisdom, release the person, place, or thing with an open heart and with gratitude for their contribution, and move along. There is much more adventure to be had beyond the self-created gates that we often create for ourselves, right? Release that stagnant energy and look forward to the future with joy and high expectation for what awaits you around the next corner, for what you'll create from these big ideas, these big dreams, these big inspirations that could be coming in for you during this cycle. This is incredibly beautiful, ethereal, creative energy, and just a time again for exploration on the softer side of things. So definitely embrace it to the best of your ability. Again, the energy can be present. It's always what we choose to do with it that makes the difference. Okay, on to the life path number. Life path number 9. So I pulled an animal spirit card for you all for March, and you got vulture spirit. So few things come in around this energy. What's interesting is in many cultures, they view the vulture as sort of this symbol of a god, like it's very revered as very spiritual energy. It's viewed as the guardian or a divine messenger from the more metaphysical into the physical. So this can be a message coming through for you all, through your dreams, through inspiration that seems to strike out of nowhere. That could be really profound this month. And that totally makes sense because we're in this 9 universal cycle. So please pay extra close attention to any of those big inspirations, even if they seem like small inspirations that come through for you this month. If you don't take action on it, that's okay, but at least make note of it, write it down somewhere, because what comes in for you this month could be very significant in the months that follow when you decide to take action, should you decide to take action on whatever this is. This can also be a reminder that, that you are protected, that there's, you have a whole team of guardian angels or whatever it is that you believe in, looking out for you from the unseen, right? And so your soul is not setting you up for failure. Your spirit guides are not setting you up for failure. You are protected, and whatever it is that you're faced with, there is meaning behind that, even though it sounds cliche and we don't always like to hear that, but there's always wisdom to be extracted from that. That's another symbol of the vulture, is great wisdom. So this is also a reminder for you to remember your own wisdom that you've tapped into, that you've extracted from all of those experiences throughout your life thus far, to not discount that, but or to minimize it, but to understand like how truly wise you are. And to tap into that and to utilize that wisdom when you are making your decisions, when you're moving through the experiences that might feel a little bit more challenging. Vulture energy is sort of beckoning you to spread your wings and fly and to see things from a higher perspective. So however that comes in for you, but there's definitely this energy around things aren't always the way that they appear. And sometimes it takes looking at things through a different lens to be able to see things more clearly. This can also be sort of the opposite energy, where this could signify someone or several people that are feeding off from your energy. And, ultimately what it comes down to is we have to give permission for that, right? Like we're saying yes when maybe we should be saying no. And those people are taking advantage of us not saying no, right? And maybe not, they may not be cognizant of the fact that they're taking advantage of us, and it may not be intentional. But if we keep giving, there's going to be the vultures that will keep taking, whether they're doing it out of malice or they're just doing it because it's there, and it's an opportunistic energy. And so this is going to be an energy for you to take a closer look at, where are you self-sacrificing? Where are you sacrificing yourself to the energetic vultures? And where do you need to make some changes so that you can set those healthy boundaries, so that you're not just a feeding ground, right? Because people will be drawn to your energy, especially if you're a giving person, which 9 energy, at your core, you are the humanitarian. You are going to want to see other people succeed, to help them to do that, to empower other people, all of these things. It's just part of your nature of who you are. And whether you're having a bad day or you're at your lower expression, you're always going to be exuding that energy. And so you're always going to be attracting people who want to benefit from that. And again, that's not a judgment against those people, but they see the light, they want to be part of that light. And so again, you just have to be very mindful of where it is that you are just sort of laying yourself down and being like, okay, I'm a feeding ground, here you go, have at it. And then you wonder why you're depleted, or why you feel resentful or regretful or whatever, or shame or whatever. So again, vulture energy is coming in to say, remember your power, remember your own, light and how sacred that is. And set those healthy boundaries, right? So I think this is also a message of allowing the old and sort of the dead energies to be removed, to make way for the new. So this is also in alignment with 9 energy. 9 energy as in the universal cycle that we're all in this month, right? So this could be a time where there are going to be some things that you're just sort of lugging along, that energy, those memories, those stories, those belief systems, whatever, that are no longer serving you. This just sort of dead weight and just needs to be released, right? Or, transmuted into something else. So lots of messages coming in from Vulture, but I think it's really important to understand that there's sort of 2 sides to this energy. And again, it's how we work with the energy that makes a difference. But so, okay. Let's see, anything else I want to say about Vulture? I don't think so. All right, so let's move on to the month ahead. So this is interesting because I can see how Vulture energy is coming through this reading. At the very beginning of the month, we have this energy of the need for like a new perspective, right? And so going back to Vulture energy, this is that energy where Vulture is asking you to fly above the chaos, to fly above sort of the illusion, the clouds, the smoke and mirrors, to see things more clearly and from different vantage points. There's something here where maybe you have tunnel vision about it. Maybe you've just been so set in your beliefs that you haven't been willing or open to see things differently or see things from a different light. I feel like you're going to have an indication of what this is at the beginning of the month. And I feel like mid-month, you're going to get a tremendous amount of clarity around whatever this is, to the point to where you're going to almost be, or I hate to say forced, but you're going to feel compelled to make a decision about whatever this is. And the key here is to be able to make that decision from a space of a broader perspective. So again, being able to become the observer and being able to see things through a different lens and through different perspectives. So there's a very, let's just put it this way, it's very supported for you to speak with other people, get other perspectives, listen to other people's wisdom from their stories, from their experiences. It doesn't mean that you have to take that in and integrate it or internalize it. It just means that you're being open to other ideas that you haven't experienced and that could shed some light on your own personal experience, right? To help you maneuver through the energies differently or in a way that is more beneficial for you. So there are times when other people's advice or, again, ideas and inspirations and wisdom really help us on our own journey. And so we don't want to close ourselves off from that. So being really open to standing in our own truth, but being open to the perspectives of others can help us to, again, just open our horizons vastly. So I think the beginning of the month is just asking you to take it, sort of be the observer. Just take everything in before you take immediate action, if you can, and then decide what it is that needs to fall away, that needs to stay, what parts of this new perspective you're going to integrate into your inspired action, whatever. But definitely something here around a different viewpoint, different belief system, being open to other belief systems, beliefs or ideas or whatever. Typically, something in our own experience must occur for us to change our belief system because, again, a lot of our actions or our ideas or beliefs are driven from our experiences, right? They're derived from those experiences. And so sometimes we need a different experience to create a different set of belief systems, or thoughts or stories or whatever. And so sometimes just listening to the perspectives or ideas of others is not enough. Sometimes we have to experience it. I do think that you're going to see those kind of different perspectives come in at the beginning of the month. And then I think that mid-month, you're going to have an opportunity to experience something that will shift your awareness. So moving into mid-month, I do think, like I said, this is a time for an awakening for you, like a very sort of critical point of self-awareness around something that you have been sort of on the fence about, teetering back and forth from, not being able to be decisive about. This is going to be a time mid-month where you need to make a decision, and or at least explore that decision. It's almost like there's some kind of avoidance energy here where you've been trying to avoid something because it just feels too much to deal with. And so you keep pushing it under the rug, but now is the time where it's coming front and center and it's like, I won't be ignored. I think you'll find that you're going to feel almost compelled to make some kind of a decision at this time around whatever this is. So again, respect whatever it is that needs to fall away and honor whatever it is that needs to stay, right? And find your own way of moving through that so that it feels comfortable, but you're able to release and move on, right? So definitely mid-month, something coming in here around major clarity, major awakening or awareness energy, to help you to become more decisive around whatever this is and to be decisive and to make that decision wholeheartedly and to feel good about it, right? So sometimes it's like we have to make decisions based on the information or the feelings that we have, and we don't have the whole story. And so it's sort of a combination of, again, following our intuition, but also blind faith. I feel like this is going to be one of those situations where this is something where you've sort of been in limbo, but you're getting a lot of clarity, and the answer becomes very clear. Let's put it that way. But don't ignore your intuition when it comes to making that decision. So again, it'll be a combination of the two, of the intellect and the intuition. Then we move into the end of the month, and there's something here around something that you may have been struggling with, that you've really been kind of carrying a burden around. It could be something where you've had to take on more than you thought you were going to have to, or you just simply said yes to something that you didn't really need to say yes to. I think that this month, or at least at the end of the month, you're going to see something come in for you that will help you to sort of manage that burden or whatever it is much more effectively, right? So this could be like, maybe it's an emotional burden that you've been carrying, and maybe somebody comes in that is able to offer coaching or counseling or just a shoulder to cry on or whatever, that is sort of, you didn't know you needed it, but then it enters into your experience, and it's sort of like you're able to release some of that burden, right? So, and it could also be like, workload, like maybe you've taken on more than you need to because you don't feel like anybody else can do it as good as you can do it. And I think that you're just going to have some inspiration come in end of the month that gives you the idea or the sort of the roadmap on how to better delegate and how to create healthier boundaries and how to know that it's okay to not feel like you have to do it all yourself, right? You don't want to fall into martyrdom. So I think end of the month, if there's something that has been feeling like an incredible burden for you, I feel like there's a solution coming in for you. It might feel uncomfortable, like it might be the solution that you wouldn't have necessarily asked for. But I think if you look into it, if you feel into it, it'll make a lot of sense, right? So it might be that thing about like, do you really need to do everything from A to Z yourself? Or can you delegate that? Can you find a team to help you? Can you bring on some volunteers, whatever, right? Or again, if it's emotional, why do you feel like you have to be sequestered on an island by yourself, like this emotional island by yourself? If you don't have friends and family that you can talk to, there's always professionals that can assist in some way. So it's up to you to do that research and find someone who resonates with you to be able to move through that energy, right? And not continue to feel like you have to do it all alone, because you don't. So I think that end of the month, you're going to be able to find some solutions to whatever this is, and you'll be able to sort of mitigate that energy in a way that starts to feel much better. You'll be able to lighten the load in a way that you'll know that whatever it is will still get done, but you don't have to do it all yourself, right? So powerful energy is coming through for you all this month, nines. But I think there's some opportunities here for you to make some headway through some things that may have felt more challenging for you in the past months. So pay attention to those big ideas, pay attention to those inspirations, pay attention to the people who come in at this time. This 9 energy of March, which is also your energy, obviously. So you're familiar with how to move through this energy, but it really is about asking for help and being open to receiving it, right? And not feeling shame or guilt around receiving it. I think that's going to be really important for you all, especially at the end of the month. Not being afraid to ask for assistance, and then being open to receiving it and not feeling like you have to do something in return for it, but just knowing that sometimes all you need to do is ask. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you all so much for listening, nines. Bye for now.